Y'all thought you got rid of me. But guess who's back? I am your no longer estranged Professor Ricky.
It's literally one episode, dude.
You guys did everything you could to rid me for good in this lab. Well, too bad.
I had absolutely nothing to do with that.
I know. I had to take a sabbatical to go on a journey to find ancient rare sources of anime.
Of course.
In the Amazon, in the tundras.
In the Grand Canyon, in Japan.
And in this kingdom that I found in the middle of nowhere.
It's a random kingdom.
I guess exists somewhere in the world. But yeah, I'm back. I'm very happy. I'm hype. I've been jonesing to get on mic. But I shout out to PatBot for covering for me for that Perfect Blue episode. That was a really fun one to listen to, actually. And I want to go rewatch it because I did watch Perfect Blue a while ago. And it's Perfect Blue is a trip.
I was fully baffled. I still don't really know what's true and what's not.
Right.
And so I think that's part of the issue. I think it took the Inception in thing where the dreidel's about to fall over.
I remember that, yeah.
But then just ramped it up to like, did any of this even happen?
Right. We'll let you decide.
Right.
And that's and you're kind of sitting there like, this is not the work I expected to do. I wanted to sit down and be...
I guess full aside, what do you think happened at the end of Inception? Are they still in the dream?
Yes.
I think so too.
I think they're still in the dream.
They're at least like 1 or 2 layers down still.
Yeah, they're under the sheets a couple ways down. So what are you gonna do? And Perfect Blue, very real. That's the same exact kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You think Inception ripped off Perfect Blue? Maybe.
It's not really the same thing. One's like a psychosis, one's a dream world.
But who's to say, right? Who's to possibly say?
I mean, I guess I am.
I'm the one saying. Oh, but today we got an interesting one because this one we're finally getting back to our viewer suggestions. This one came from a person by the name of Crimson Blaze or Blade. Blaze. Crimson Blaze from the Anime Summit Discord.
Right.
As you know, we like any kind of viewer suggestion that comes across, be it email, Instagram, or Discord from other shows or our own. We put it in a list, and we, like everyone else's Mal gonna watch list, we say we're gonna get to it, and then do it one at a time once a year.
Yeah. So he actually told me about this show. I would say easily a year and a half ago. This was pre-COVID.
Okay.
He was like, I got in their voice channel or whatever.
Right.
And I was talking to him while he was like walking through the city. I think it's like New York or something. I don't know.
Sure. Just
walking through a city. He's like talking about anime while walking through the city. I was laughing my butt off about that, but
that's fun. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah. So his initial pitch to me was, I want you to tell me that this is as bad as I think it is.
It's and we're always up to the challenges with stuff like that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but when you preface a show like that to someone, it definitely, I would say, skews the entry, right? I that's the only thing I can think of on my end is I definitely went into it thinking this is going to absolutely suck dumpster fires. Like,
yeah,
this is bad.
Suck complete butt.
But what we found was both this suggestion, this pitch, and its reviews online seem to be giving it a lot more hate than we think is probably warranted.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about maybe if there's stuff to fix or why people may have hated it as much as they did overall. So, Ethan, what are we talking about today?
Today we were talking about the show Taboo Tattoo, a JC Staff show from, I think,
2016.
Really? I thought it was 14, but okay, fair. You're right.
Like we said, we can skew it a couple years, It's in the teens, the 20 teens. And this is popcorn anime at best, I think. I didn't have to think a single bit the entire season.
Yeah, no, it was something that it's like one of those ones that I love to watch where I can literally be playing like a game on my phone or something at the same time and still be like relatively, I guess,
tuned
following the plot,
It wasn't a complex plot.
It did feel like, though, well, there was some complexities that we like honestly never really got the answers to.
Right.
But it was like, it felt like, And I know a lot of shows do this kind of shit where you're just like dropped into the middle of this like socio-economic war that's going on, or geopolitical war, I guess is the correct word.
Sure, right.
Not linguisti.
Not linguistes, don't hold it against us.
But yeah, so this like random kid is just dropped into this freaking war essentially, or this big struggle between world superpowers.
Yeah,
related to these tattoos.
Cheesy Pete. Yeah, so I mean, spoilers in this episode for season 1, only season that exists of Taboo Tattoo, which we'll talk about that in a second, that only one exists. But you have our boy Seiji.
Yeah. So in the dub, they called him, I want to say Sega or something.
Yeah, it's his full name is
Seiji. That's it.
Seiji. Yeah, Akasuka Seiji. Sega. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
So supposedly his real name was Justice Akasuka.
Yeah, because wasn't that like, is his name Seiji a name on that? Seiji was the play on that? Maybe how it's written, or is it literally Justice?
They literally said his name is Justice Asakusa or whatever, but everyone just calls him Seiji. It's like, okay.
Fucking Seiji. All right.
Enough, I guess.
You couldn't be more blatant that he's your MC. He's literally Justice.
Well, it was funny because that was like a big plot point throughout, is like, what is justice? How does one define justice?
And it seems, other shows I think do this way better. Way better. But this show's motif of justice feels very subjective and individually driven. Like, we have some characters that are saying, justice is you enacting what you think your version of justice is, and that is valid. And other people are like, no, that's not true. And the discourse felt shallow, but it's there in my mind.
I don't know. I actually kind of liked it because it was like a bunch of like philosophies about justice that require, like, say, for instance, the princess or whatever, the main baddie.
Yeah.
She would constantly say, like, your justice is nothing unless you have the power to back it up and stuff like that. And if you, like, really extrapolate that to real life, something could be right or wrong, but if everyone says it's wrong,
it's wrong.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like, there's nothing you can do about it at some point.
Exactly. So as we kind of dive into this, we'll talk about whose philosophies of justice are enacted and how they kind of play and combat against each other. I think they had good points. I don't think they dived into it as deeply as I would have liked them to do, but they had the beginnings of something there. So you know what? We have our main character, Seiji, Sega. He is basically thrown...
Sega
Genesis, our boy, Sega Justices. He is given by a seemingly random man in the beginning a kind of crystalline rock with a symbol on the inside because he had saved him from some muggers or something like that. And he's like, hey, I got to repay you by giving you this super ultra powerful weapon that is going to change the course of humanity forever.
Yeah.
He's like, I would have been cool with some money, man. Like,
really?
Maybe a coupon, a gift card, maybe. But no, he gives them a super weapon that is called a tattoo. How did you feel about the tattoo power system?
There was like some cool aspects to it. Like, this is what's so hard about this show is they literally tried to use everything they could possibly use, like trope wise.
Yes.
But then they would like only give you half the information you would need to make the system like interesting.
Right.
Like, at first he's talking about the triggerless tattoo, and then I'm like, well, then why do you have to splatter blood on it?
Yeah.
That seems to be not a triggerless tattoo, you assholes.
Right, you absolute dumb. Because these triggers give you two main things. You're boosted, basically all your physical attributes are crazy boosted for at least 10 minutes. I think that's the hard line for main tattoo wielders, called the sealed. But also you get some kind of unique power just to you.
Yeah.
And to bring these forth, you need to utilize a trigger. And they could be anything. And this is actually the aspect I like the most of the tattoo system. A trigger. Some people, like our girl Izzy, hers was chalk, breaking chalk in her hand. Kind of almost like it's kind of like a small sacrifice to the tattoo.
Yeah, but how the fuck would you find out that your thing is chalk?
That's the weird thing.
Literally, when was the last time you used chalk, Ricky?
Actually, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Actually.
Now that you're thinking about it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, because I haven't thought about chalk in forever.
Right?
Yeah. So as much as I like the idea of you having to, it's kind of I'm said on the show before, I'm a big fan of risk reward or conditional power systems, kind of like Nen, that, in order to activate, there are rules, right? Because that allows for situations in a story where you could be caught off guard and not have your trigger. So then you're kind of in a pinch, right? Or you basically, I only have 3 more shots, right? I only have 3 more to reload my trigger and reload my tattoo. So I like that aspect, but exactly as you said, how the fuck would you find out what your trigger is? I don't know. I don't know.
Like his thing being blood is one of the easiest things in a combat anime to like find out that that's your trigger.
Yeah, right.
But like all the other ones, like one guy's was breaking cigarettes in his hand, another person's was wood, another person was
leaves.
a leaf.
Yeah. So So the one thing is like you get your tattoo, cool. But if nobody knows what your tattoo does, including yourself, you just have to start squeezing shit.
And then there was at least 2, potentially 3 that I didn't notice any trigger that they had.
Yeah,
all the Brahmin bulls.
Ills. There is no that little,
I don't know what
Ills
chick thing was about. I don't know what the fucking whip guy was about.
Right. So I think Ill, which is she's part of this team called Brahmin.
Yeah.
That they're a task force for this nation called the Kingdom. Currently the most powerful nation in terms of tattoo acquisition on the planet. They're currently in a big fat economic or geopolitical war with America, which weird. They could have picked any other real country, but they decided to make the Kingdom.
Yeah, I was a little bit negative on this show because of that. It's like, yo, what the fuck?
It's if only you had, 200 other countries, nay, a dozen superpowers.
Not even realistic to say that, some small little tiny kingdom would be like lording some power over like
America,
one of the 3 largest countries in the world.
Right.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
So this attack force, on behest of the royalty of that kingdom, they're all really powerful sealed, so tattoo users. And you have this little lolly girl named Ill, who I think I figured out her trigger because her nickname was Schrodinger's cat. That she can adjust her position in any place as long as somebody is observing her. So I think her trigger is literally observation, because if no one's looking at her, she can't do anything. That's my only guess.
Yeah, but that does not kind of like mesh with everyone else's trigger having to be crushed in their hands and stuff.
Right, it doesn't at all. And that's one of the big cruxes I have of this tattoo power system is that it feels, you'll go through and watch it, you'll be like, they're breaking their own rules left and right.
Yeah.
But there's one key aspect that made it really contrived that they can do this. And it's that tattoos are still not fully known. They're still being researched to the fullest extent. I hate that throwaway because we've seen it in other shows before. Oh, we're still researching. We don't know the full extent of this, which translates to, hey, I'm the writer and I can add any rule at any time because we don't know about all of them yet. Ha ha ha. That doesn't seem tight. That doesn't seem fun to me.
If you're the writer, I'm sure it does. It's like, okay, thank God. Woo.
It's literally a literary blank check. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's so dumb. So, putting aside the rules of making them work, the triggers themselves, the tattoos themselves are actually quite cool. Like, some really interesting powers here, I think.
Yeah, so what I thought was going to end up happening, because they had made this big to-do about being able to basically collect all these tattoos and bring them back to the U.S.
Yes. And
they never did that.
They never did do that, did they? No.
Like, not a single one did they collect.
Because, I don't know, in this story, America's ability to enact on this tattoo stage
apparently
doesn't exist.
Completely inept.
Yeah, right. They're
Unless you're Bluesy
Fruzy or Colonel Sanders, baby.
He didn't do a good job.
He didn't do it. I thought he was going to do a good job.
In the dub, he was Chris Sabat.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Damn. I would have actually watched that knowing that. But that's fine. We got to do our sub-dub due diligence, right? So that's cool. If you're a dub person, you got a big banger, which, weirdly enough, I wouldn't have imagined him jumping on board with that, because wasn't My Hero Academia, was that 2016 or 2017? That started that season 1.
I think 16, but
Yeah.
this was JC Staff, so it was a big freaking studio, low key.
Yeah,
like a really solid squad.
They got it. So
it's not really surprising to me that big names wanted to be on it.
right.
I think Justin Briner is the main guy. He's in a lot of stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. So it looks like you got a stout dubcast. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big problem, is that the tattoo system, because if tattoos seem to be the core linchpin to power in this world, you would think you'd have more of an effort to, go actually acquire them, which we kind of find out how to do that tangentially through events in the story. Like, apparently, because you remember when Arya, the princess of the kingdom who overthrew everything, because she's kind of maniacal, but and weirdly Ichi, she's like the entire Ichi fan service of the show.
Yeah, this show, I think for sure a lot of people didn't like it because of how ecchi it was.
It felt so out of place.
It was just unnecessarily ecchi.
Yeah, and there wasn't, I couldn't think of a single situation where the Ichi felt earned. Yeah, or even just like involved at all. Like, why would this be here?
It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know. But what was I saying about that? Yeah, it's fascinating to me that the Arya chick basically taught us how tattoos are made, because
Arya
Bata, yeah.
Stupid name.
I'm going with Arya first, because apparently it's been told to us that there are only known 4 runes in the world, and these are the originators and source of all the tattoos that exist. Once, I guess, if you have the ability to go inside of these kind of cores and rewrite some shit they never explained.
Honestly, a lot of this movie or show was just like, what the fuck are they doing and why should I give a shit?
Right, and it's kind of what you said up top, is that they'll give you like half the info, and I think it's because they might realize that the other half of that info is complete bullshit, and they just don't want to write it and just like, audience can figure it out.
I would love to know if any of y'all have read the like light novel or the manga or anything. If any of this stuff's explained, because there could be easily a situation like God of High School where the little manhwa explains all the shit that's like so confusing in the anime.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we definitely are missing things here, and you'll notice it too. You'll watch it and be like, how the fuck did he do that? How did, like, I thought...
We're missing, like, an insane amount of backstory.
Yeah.
And then I think it was episode 1, he gets his tattoo, right?
Right. Like, right up top.
He had I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was in school, like, a second before that or something, and they were talking about tattoos. It might have been right after this.
It was right after that.
They're talking about tattoos. Like, a bunch of little school children somehow know about this top secret American military thing.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. They're just like, apparently they're fighting for these things called tattoos.
Yeah. And it's like this, like, they go super in depth to this, like, confidentiality or confidential stuff. And then he meets Bluesy Fruzy and she starts asking him about the tattoo. And he's like, what's that? And it's like, you just heard what it was. What do you mean?
We just got a huge exposition dump.
Yeah.
Like
he literally acted like he had never heard of it. And he was like so confused. And I'm like, the kids in your class know about it. How do you not know about it?
I was half expecting like that kid who was doing all this explanation. Like, really, he went like, if you took the dialogue, it's probably like 2 paragraphs of information.
Yeah.
The FBI to just call him up, just like, stay fucking right where you are. We're coming. We're coming to get you. So
the FBI cannot go to Japan and arrest people.
Fine, the JFBI. I don't know, the Japanese Federal Bureau, like the JFBI. It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
So the idea that this show is so bad about expositionizing the world that they live in, because they're doing a lot of telling and not a lot of showing, but even worse than that, they're telling, not showing just the half, like you said.
Yeah.
So even though I'd actually kind of forgive it if it didn't have these fat exposition dumps and just show me a piece of the world, cool, okay, but they dump everything, and then they don't dump, well, everything they do dump isn't the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a half-assed measure for a half-assed technique, which just didn't feel engaging at all.
Yeah.
So as far as plot goes, run of the mill. run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. I mean, were there any moments in here that really kind of like got your gander, like in terms of like overall plot? Which you're going into spoiler city now, so if you haven't watched it and really care to watch it, go to town. But
No, I mean the plot was
serviceable.
Yeah, I mean there's nothing like really crazy that any other show hasn't done. Like really,
Yeah.
there isn't anything that I thought was so like egregiously bad that I was like it's unwatchable anymore. I know a lot of people have stopped, would not finish the show, and I think for me the only thing that was really pushing me toward that would be all the ecchi shit, because it was just like so unnecessarily aggressive. Like any scene with a girl with big boobas,
big booba. Yeah.
The main antagonist would just like grope the shit out of them.
Yeah, Princess Arya is very handsy.
She's problematic.
She's a problematic entity in 2021. Let's just get it out.
I mean,
there.
You need to go on Twitter and just completely witch hunt
her. Yeah, witch hunt her instead of all the other ones that are witch hunting right now.
Yeah,
witch hunt her. Yeah.
Right.
Hashtag cancel Arya. But, yeah.
There was a couple like really, I thought, confusing plot points, which was they kept talking about this key thing.
Right.
Which they don't explain.
They don't explain that.
But then also, she's constantly around Seiji.
Yeah.
He's supposedly a key. She's had many, many opportunities to collect him and like deal with him.
And yet.
And she like consistently will just leave him. And then like worse, like intentionally try to make him stronger.
Yeah. And isn't there a moment? There's like I caught that. It's kind of like maybe episode 8-ish where they have the first big battle with Arya and her maid squad.
Yeah.
She was like, literally, he's free, right? He kind of just, it's been resolved to a degree and everything's kind of the dust settled. And then she goes, well, I guess I have no more further business here. Let's everyone go, and leaves. No, you fucking don't. The one objective business you have here is still in front of you. You captured him once, just take him.
Well, that was after he had already absorbed the other key too. So I'm like, It seems like a freaking golden chest sitting right in front of you.
It's literally two birds, one gropey stone. Yeah. And all you have to do is just scoop them, and you get a 2-for-1.
Scoop them and poop them.
Scoop them and poop them. A key BOGO deal.
I guess dupe them and scoop them.
Yeah, dupe them and scoop them. Yeah. I like that. Dupe them all and scoop them up. So, yes, very weirdly contrived. And that kind of gave way to the final segment of the show. So to give him the time he needs to prepare to actually combat her. She literally was her own sort of undoing.
Well, so she did say that she had done it because she knew if he was still like a pure-hearted individual and like wasn't consumed by revenge.
Hello, my name is Justice. So,
yeah, then he would have been able to like overtake her ability or whatever and start calling on the source to do things.
Yeah, right.
But I was just, I guess, fairly baffled that, like he also got ridiculously strong in that time period. So it's like, What if he just was better than you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you ever consider that, princess? That maybe your pure-hearted justice boy is kind of a badass?
Well, because they did say, if you're the best swordsman in the world and then you become a tattooed, you'll also be the best swordsman tattooed.
Yeah, right. I think it said like fastest runner. You're going to be the fastest runner amongst the tattoo because it literally like everything percentage-wise.
It just amplifies you.
Right.
And so that's always a fun like little mechanic that they put into shows,
that someone
really
who's
any show, frankly.
Right. Someone who's already beefy. Because from a character development standpoint, that promotes them actually training themselves.
Yeah.
Because like every moment your base gets stronger, that amp is just bigger, right? So awesome. I guess that's a fair thing. They didn't really explore that to a huge degree, I don't think. The only time I think I really saw it amply was the first tattoo guy in episode 1, who is this big, beefy, brawny dude codenamed Teddy Bear.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. But he's like this big, tanky dude, so inherently he'd be much tankier when he activates his tattoo. But they never really go back to that. Like, I'm actively super fast. Like, oh shit, I should watch out and probably prevent triggering the tattoo, right? I don't know. They could have done a lot of better things better, but
yeah, because I think like the big bad America, who is all about blowing shit up and like
Yeah, did you catch all that too?
they literally like for a good 2 minutes after some victory, they were like USA, USA,
Yeah.
USA. I was like, all right, guys.
I mean, we got a guy like Izzy called him Colonel Sanders. He's like, well, I'm a brigadier general now, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm still the colonel, baby. I'm like, oh, well, okay. So Colonel Sanders.
Feels like it sounds better.
Yeah, it does sound better. And when they're going to find the fourth ruin, so the kingdom owns 2, America controls 1, and lo and behold, the fourth one happens to be in Japan, which, again, that's a trope I'm willing to be okay with. I'm okay with that. He's literally like, they're on the choppers and they have a whole squad going, and he's like, anyone who resists us will be crushed under my foot with fire and iron. Yeah. That's how my country does things. Do not fuck with me.
And yet they're using at best like, you know, some little Sidewinder missiles or something.
Yeah,
some
right.
AIM-9s on their Blackhawks.
Ooh, real fire and iron there, Colonel. Like,
it's like, dude, what happened to the cruise missiles? And like, let's take this a little serious.
He should have fired off his Lebanese and spices. That's what he should have done.
Yeah, true. That would have knocked them.
That would have knocked him down.
That would have knocked their socks right off.
Oh, baby. Give me some of that spice. But yeah, I mean, America was definitely portrayed in a very stereotypical light here. Which
whatever.
I don't hate that at all, really.
It honestly had nothing to do with the show, so.
No, it didn't. But I from a character standpoint, I wasn't too big a fan of most of them. I kind of like Blood. He seemed pretty cool.
So what do they call him in the sub?
BB.
Okay.
BB.
Really annoying.
Yeah, right. They call him BB because his whole name is Blood Blackwater, something like that.
Bloodwater.
Blood something water.
Yeah.
So knows? It's Blood Black something. So BB for short.
Blackstone.
Sure. Yeah.
I think so.
Blood Booba. Why not? But yeah. So he is a guy that we find out that there are more than one of this tattoo that Seiji. What's his name?
Holy fuck! His name is Brad Blackstone.
Brad? No way.
Yeah.
Brad Blackstone. They called him Blood.
I know.
So yeah, they kept calling him Blood. It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't, but that's just really baffling.
Right. So the type of tattoo that Seiji has is called the Void Maker, which he honestly really cool. He can literally make voids that eat all space, which OP as fuck, and nothing less for our good old MC, right?
Yeah.
And he can't control it really. So he's like, there's a scene where he tries to blow the door off of a basement he's trapped in, and he blows up an entire crater in the house. And
no, he erases the rest of the house as well.
Yeah, just boop, gone. Blip.
Like anything right above the door is gone.
It was just a perfect cutout, which is pretty cool to see. And apparently there's more than one of these guys, so not that special.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently there, and again, this is the explanation they gave, and whatever, that apparently there is one per rune. There's one Void Maker per rune. What? Why? What, to what end does that make any fucking sense? Does that mean that implicitly there can be duplicates of others per rune?
So they did a really bad job of explaining, like, specifically the source situation and like what they're tapping into.
Yeah, the source. You could see it as colloquially known as a soul or a spirit.
Well, they look like fucking
stands,
Digimon.
Or Digimon stands is what we have here.
I don't even know. They almost look like the Bankai for Koretsuchi, the like big ass floating baby worm.
Oh yeah. That's actually about right.
Yeah.
They all had a pretty weirdly grotesque design. Yeah, they had a really grotesque design.
Yeah, they were like nasty and like actually like one of the cooler parts of the show.
Yeah, right.
And then there's this big battle at the end with those things.
Yeah,
like,
so
it was like a Godzilla battle.
It was very kaiju, man. Yeah. And I actually didn't hate that ending because
it was all right.
I had already resigned myself like by season, like episode 6, like midway through the season, like, all right, you know what? I'm not even going to attempt to keep picking it apart. I'm going to make peace with they're not going to explain shit. They can just bring off any kind of Chekhov's gun, Chekhov's Godzilla, bring anything they want to the party. And once you make peace with
was
this
it his gun or wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Was it his gun or was it not? Once you make peace
Schrodinger's gun.
with the inner turmoil that is any student watching, like, what the fuck is going on with this show, you actually will find Zen here. Just kind of make fucking peace and just kind of watch, just go on for the ride.
Just watch big fucking monsters attacking each other. Like, does everything have to be so in-depth?
Do we have to be so academic and cerebral all the time and just watch some big-ass beasts going ham on each other in the Grand fucking Canyon? I don't know. I don't think that's a bad time.
Yeah, I think it was all right.
At the end of the day.
There was one character I really liked that came out of nowhere, like season 9. The guy with the cosplay girlfriend.
The episode 9? Oh.
Or 10. It was like really late into the show. This random guy just showed up.
It wasn't Top Hat guy, was it?
No.
No. Who was it? Wasn't Lurker? Wasn't
He was
Lawrence.
a guy that was training Seiji with Tom and Bluesy Fruzy after they dipped.
Oh, it was the guy, like Wiseman's team, right?
No, I don't know who he was. He's just a big fucking guy who had like the ability. It was like Bull Run or some shit was his like tattoo.
Yeah, right.
And he had a cosplay fiance.
Got one.
And he thought he was the main character of the show. And he kept saying like,
funny. That's what I was gonna
he's
say.
like, don't worry, I'll come back. And she's like, dude, you're gonna die for sure now.
You're number 1. Like you're gonna be it. Yeah, they introduced a lot of characters way late in the game.
So I do want to like quickly touch on that thing I just mentioned though. There was like a weird amount of like attempts to try other genres at the same time.
Thank you for saying that.
Like it felt like randomly you'd be in a really dark moment, a really important moment, and they just like flip to an ecchi like complete harem situation, or they'd flip to Konosuba like joke, joke panel.
Yeah, that genre or like that kind of context switching that way definitely felt really jarring because I was watching, like, my girlfriend was just on the couch looking at her phone, and every time she looked up,
no
and
way
she's
she
like,
watched this.
No, she didn't watch
so
it.
Sorry.
And I even told her, this is not the anime I wanted to show you. And she's like, which one is that? I'm like, Tokyo Revengers, duh. But not this one. I just had to watch this one today to get this out.
I haven't watched any more of Tokyo Revengers since that.
Oh, really?
I'm actually really pissed off about the way it was going.
Really?
12.
I'm
it was just such a boneheaded fucking decision. I'm gonna run Tomon.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, you guys are indebted to me. Don't put this guy in the fucking gang. Like, what's so hard about that?
That show has given so much like positive karma on its leisure for me that I'm willing to go in on the second half.
I'm a petty little bitch, though.
I'm a petty little bitch boy. Yeah. It's fine. This professor needs some.
I'm a petty little soy boy. And they've angered me.
They have angered me, and
I want to talk to a manager.
Oh, Twitter will hear about this. Oh,
I wish they would, but I don't do Twitter very well.
To your benefit, I believe it. But
I think Twitter is just bad for everyone's mental health.
Are you kidding? It's the worst.
Disgrace.
Yeah,
honestly, YouTube comments are also pretty bad, but I enjoy watching fights.
But at least, like, imagine if YouTube comments was the entire bag, right? And that's the entire platform. That's what Twitter is.
It's true.
What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Taboo Tattoo. So yeah, they introducing. She would look up from her phone and see Ichi, then romance, then comedy, then action. She's like, "Is this all the same show?"
All right.
I'm like, "No, it is." But your shock is my shock.
Yeah.
Like I see you. You see me. Do you see what's happening right now?
Because
I remember one of the things is they were down in the cave. Arya, Il, and one of the maids or Cal was down in the cave. I forgot who was down there with them. And she looks up. People are fighting on the surface. She looks down. Not 45 seconds later, she stares at 45 more seconds of just absolute tit groping.
Yeah,
just out of nowhere. And she's like, "Is this?" I'm like, I know, I get it. Don't just don't talk. Just trust me. I know.
There was a ping pong match randomly in the middle,
yeah, what the
which
fuck?
was actually sick, except for like she'd hit the ball back, Aryabata would, and it would like break off what's her face's clothes.
Toku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bet was you'll leave Seiji alone or like I'll give my chest to you or something. It was like the weirdest fucking thing.
She said like because Toku, who was kind of like, you know, the stereotypical tropey childhood friend of the MC who likes him, but like,
and he's just got a massive
absolute booba rack. And everyone apparently in the entire country and some other countries as well want a piece of that oppa because they all know it's truth. And she sees that the princess Arya is kind of shows up and trying to bother Saiji, and she's like, if I win, you leave my boy alone. Get your own mans. And Arya's like, all right, if I win, I get to grope that shit all day. That's mine now. I get to grope it. And she's like, fine, whatever, fuck it. And they both have their tattoos activated, so they're basically like full ninja mode.
Yeah.
And she keeps stripping shit off, and she goes finishing move dragon dive and like tears off everything she has on. And next scene, just full conversation. She's just going full gropey. So, man, the Ichi sucked in this show. It was bad.
It was bad. I don't like it in any show, you know, maybe I'm a prude, whatever, but I don't think in a lot of shows it adds anything. I think it's just frankly straight up awkward to have all these weird upskirt panty shots, and then to think like, what does that mean for the Japanese public? Is this the shit that it makes all these weird ass dudes on trains like constantly take pictures of these girls?
I think yes. Like, I think genuinely it's a cause.
Is it so ingrained in their society that it's the cause, or is it an effect?
I think, you know what?
Is it poison?
Let's have a conversation about Ichi, because I think it can be done right. I have a little bit of more of an open mind about it. You know, I just started Dragon Maid, and anyone who says that isn't Ichi, they don't have eyes. Yeah. They do not have ears. That show is Ichi, and Ichi is that. So. But do I think it's fine? Yes. In Dragon Maid,
it was fine.
It was fine. It was okay. You can ignore it. It's very neutral. It's there, but they have a lot more going on for a slice of life. Weirdly, like a pretty deep fantasy lore in there. Pretty good combo. Not my cup of tea, but it's a quality work, and I'm still working through it. I'll have things to say later, maybe with some guests. Who fucking knows? But Food Wars, they did it right. It's literally ingrained into the power system. There's kind of a common physical pleasure with food mixed in real life. Like, ever eat something, you're like, oh, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Shit, dude. God, this burrito, fuck, man. I feel like we've done that.
Milkshake, fuck.
This milkshake, can I be real for a second? This Panda Express fucks.
You know, I went to Panda Express like an hour ago.
I didn't. I was just referring to you sent Pat a pic of you eating Panda Express in the Discord.
True.
That's what I was referencing. But to that point, you went back to Panda Express.
That was actually a China restaurant. Nice try.
Oh, well, damn. Shit. But you know why you went back to Panda Express today?
Because
it fucks. So Food Wars kind of played on that physical, satisfaction and made Ichi kind of part of the power system.
I'll forgive you for forgetting that it's Panda PE Lounge.
Okay, yes, you're right. The PE Lounge. But everyone knows that, we have a history. We can't just be throwing PE Lounge out there and no one fucking knows what's going on. So
it's no triple walk express kingdom.
I want to go to Triple Walks Express Kingdom. Oh my God.
I don't at all. If they have to go that deep into it, it's not good.
It's not great. But yeah, so I mean, to kind of the whole thing, Ichi does have a place. Do I think it's selling to the minority or the subset of the anime community that you were saying? Yeah, it does sell. I mean, we can't ignore that sex sells, but to what end do you slap it on a show and it's made infinitely worse?
It sells, but I don't know. I guess I'm more altruistic, or I guess I look at the overall effect of these things on society.
Wow. Okay. Keep tooting your horn, man. Let's go.
I guess I'm just like, I guess I'm
just kind of like a real humanitarian, prophet of sorts.
No, I don't know if worries me is the correct word. It's sort of like, we never really got into it, but that rent-a-girlfriend situation.
Right.
Where it's like, is this fucking people up?
Yeah.
Like, where they think that, like, borderline this stuff is realistic to do in real life, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it genuinely worries me, because like you see, like this is gonna go down a rabbit hole, but y'all are just gonna have to bear with me.
No, that's what we're here for. Let's go.
You'll find all these weird scenarios of like Discord communities where there's like this weird predatory behavior toward like females or like younger people.
Yeah.
And my question is it because all these like nerd ass losers on Discord are just super into like, super heavy etchy stuff, and they're like, oh, everyone wants this.
I think where it goes,
or like the most recent crazy thing was that big lawsuit with Blizzard.
Yeah.
Where they're just like constantly sexually harassing all these females. It's like in the actual court document says like every day was a frat party. They did cube crawls.
Yes.
Like,
Forgot about cube crawls.
What is that?
That's I don't even want to fucking know. I didn't even look into it further, and it's just
so bad.
So to your end, I think it's some kind of blend of everything you had brought up, but the one I think key component to all of that is I think that fan service and ichi and stuff of that nature sells to an individual, because what are we doing with anime then kind of escaping reality or seeing a subversion of reality? That's kind of the beauty of anime. You can portray things that you can't in real life, but people do use it to kind of as an escape. It's escapism, be it an isekai with OPMCs and putting yourself in it, be it shonen, you just want to watch some badass superpowered battles, be it a romance show, and you escape into the fantasy of seeing what a perfect or not so perfect relationship might be. Ichi, though,
turns out all of them are toxic as fuck.
Yeah, and here we are, right? And Ichi shows is escaping into a fantasy where that promiscuous nature and its blasé presentation in the world at large could be validation for that behavior in the real world, I think, which can, in my mind, be the worrying part. When you have the inability to separate reality and fantasy, and you watch these things, having it feel normalized in this context, and they kind of then extend it to the real world.
Yeah,
right?
I worry, like, is it blurring the lines for some people? Because I mean, like,
I think 100%.
Like, think about, I don't want to go, I don't know if this is like offensive to people, but I'm just going to keep saying it, and then we'll have to deal with the repercussions.
We'll deal with it in post or not. But
if you're looking for stuff to escape from reality, you may not be, potentially like on the level, let's just say, with your mental health or like your situation in some cases.
Yeah, no,
and so maybe like, is it good for people that aren't like solid to be like really just abusing their brains with this stuff so often? I don't know, man.
Right? Is it the responsibility of the creators to not
make
put
a good show,
to not put that out though? Right?
What I would say
it's a product at the end of the day. Let's be real with that.
Like, for instance, Scum's Wish. We watched that with Otaku Melancholy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a situation where it was literally like essentially all about sexual abuse. Let's just be honest.
It was, and how
so you
what
needed
forms
that shit there to make sense.
Exactly. See, that's a really good analogy, because some stories,
Beastars, there's no reason you need all these animals fucking on screen. I'm sorry. It just isn't necessary.
I kind of agree with you there. I don't want to watch it, but I understand part of that story. Like, if it were humans and other stories have had this, that's kind of what you would want. You need to show that. It's just the fact that it's animals may add an extra lens, but neither here nor there. We'll do an episode on season 2. But
here's a good example. So I read a lot of like, you see a lot of the books there, but like Jack Reacher, this other series, like an Elvis Cole series, basically a lot of like either ex-military or like, ex-police officer, detective type books, right?
Yeah.
So in nearly every book, they find some new chick that they fall in love with, or like they help out and they fall in love or whatever.
Right.
They like, bang one scene in the entire book, and then it just sort of like, it's like they're in a relationship sort of, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not like they're not constantly showing like, and so he looks at her tits, or you know what I mean? Like, it's not like in books, it's not constant like that. I don't think, or at least the stuff I read.
Yeah.
Even like, non like man centric books.
Sure.
I've never read a book that was so like aggressively talking about like, I guess objectifying the other person that they're in a relationship with so much that like anime does. Like, is there any reason you need that weird like upskirt shot as you like pan up? It's like weird decisions.
So I don't think it's weird. I think it's just not for us. Because if you look, I mean, literary wise, like, you have books that are smut all day. You got 50 Shades of Grey, you got Belinda Blinks, you got Kissing the Coronavirus, which is a real erotic fiction about fucking the coronavirus. Here we are. Like, those things exist. Those things exist.
I feel like I must ask some questions, but I don't think I want to.
Everyone knows 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Belinda Blinks is from the podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno, which is fucking hysterical.
Okay.
And Kissing the Coronavirus is something that a friend of mine showed me, like, dude, this fucking exists. But guess what? There's a sequel.
Yeah.
Kissing the Coronavirus 2, the second wave. So...
The Delta variant.
The Delta variant. That's book 3, baby.
Yeah.
So, in the end, when we talk about Ichi, it is definitely, there is a market for it. I think it can exist. If a show that isn't explicitly Ichi is going to use it, make it contextually valid. But if it is an Ichi show that's there to be softcore Ichi shit, they can have it. That's cool. That's totally okay by me. It's.
But I think that needs to be like almost the plot. At some point needs to be like, we're all out here trying to bang, you know?
Somebody in the Discord tell me about the one where there's a story about how basically all pornographic talk material or explicit material has been outlawed, and there's a small group of individuals that are trying to, like, bring back dirty jokes and pornography back into the world because they feel like it's part of humanity as a whole. I forgot what show that's called. I've never seen it, but it has kind of
Eromanga Sensei?
No, that's even way, way worse.
Yeah, okay.
But tying it back to Taboo Tattoo, because that was a tangent I think we needed to fucking have. We need to talk about each.
Yeah,
right.
And it's not gonna just, in there. We're gonna talk about it for the rest of time, I have a feeling.
Yeah, but as we see more shows that, like Taboo Tattoo, that it feels like they just pasted on Ichi as an afterthought to sell it.
Yeah.
To me is indicative that they're worried that it's a story that can't hang on its own. Maybe this is in the light novel. And to that end, maybe that author felt that this is going to sell. I need this to sell, right?
Yeah, it honestly might be a studio thing. Like,
true.
Maybe these manga don't even have a lot of it in there, and they're just like, look, we need to make sure that this thing does it the best that we can.
We need that merch money,
sells
baby.
The most body pillows.
Yes, and you can tell a show that is Ichi tangential because they have the full spread. We got from Big Booba, Cal, to tiny, lowly Ill, and everyone in the middle like Izzy and shit like that. That when you have a spread like that you can those characters didn't need to look Ill kind of, Izzy kind of. Like, they gave some context about why they look the way they do. But in the end of the day, it was unnecessary. Another one of those shows that feels dampened by its addition.
Yeah.
Not heightened or even neutral at all. So, sad to see.
But back to like the tone problems we were talking about. Like,
sure.
I had told you that. I finished it a couple days ago, and I'm like, dude, the tone shifts are jarring.
Yeah.
And since you had mentioned that now, like, I guess at this point, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly touch on it. It would go from this weird comedy to like death defying, like, this is so important, to like, we're talking about the philosophies of justice, to like,
yeah, right.
Tom will come back in the picture. He'll be like dying or something, and then he'll like fall over.
Yeah,
like
he's dying. He's about to grab for his cigarettes, and it goes full comedy. God damn, with some English. And yeah, you're right, because it's those whiplash moments. It felt like they were just trying to follow the tropes by the book, but they didn't really know where to fit them in. They just kind of like, we have 3 comedy requirements out of 5 already done. We need to find a place for 4th and go.
Yeah.
And just now we have it. And I think the biggest tonal shift for me was, for the whole show, was Toko's death, which was kind of an interesting play.
I was so happy. I'm like, what is this dumb bitch walking up to the freaking enemy?
Yeah.
Like, was that not insane to you?
That was really dumb. And she was just like walking up to Seiji, like, hi, Seiji, I knew you'd be back. I knew you'd be back.
There's people dead all around them.
Yes.
He's got holes all over his body from being stabbed a bunch.
Yeah, right.
There's the enemy right next to him.
And then...
it's like, hello?
Yeah. she was not my favorite character at all.
She was so dumb.
And she was just a trope for trope's sake. She was there to sell merch. And I think
that like obsessive girlfriend, like holding up the main character on a pedestal kind of thing.
Yes, whatever you need. I am your guardian. I am your lover.
Yeah.
I am your everything. And even though you don't give a shit about me, frankly, he really kind of doesn't if you think about it. Like, when does he outwardly say, outside of her death, when is he like, don't fucking hurt her? Maybe the one maybe the one initial part. It felt like Seiji as a main character really didn't give a fuck about anything except for, I want my justice to be the way, right? I want to have power to defend everything, I guess. It's so.
I mean, it was very common, right? Like that's common to like every
I know
show.
that shit wears me out, though. I mean, we've seen main characters who say that, but their actions and behavior and philosophy is much more robust than that. Even in shows like, I'm thinking like Guilty Crown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can say that, you can believe that, but how on screen is your personality, philosophy, and behavior manifesting that? And in this show, Seiji was just flat out, basic, run-of-the-mill, fresh off the line, generic-ass MC. No ifs, ands, ors, or buts.
Yeah, he didn't really have many defining characteristics for sure, other than his name was freaking Justice. Like,
yeah, right. And I guess I'm happy they didn't, because they were just one fucking step away from building a harem for him. Like, couldn't you see the show having him cook up a harem? Like, I'm
almost certain season 2, like, that's what that was supposed to be.
Was kind of cooking up a harem.
Because remember, he beats Sword Chick and he's like, don't fall for me when I kick your ass or whatever.
There's one.
I'm like, that's for sure going to join.
Yeah.
Izzy's going to join because he's got BB in him.
Yeah.
And then Arya Bada's going to be down.
Oh, yeah, she would be down. It was
so clear, like, if they had gotten another season, this would have been, like, some horrendous.
Arya would have fallen for him, and then it would have come along for the ride and realized he's perfect for him, and Arya convinces her, and she becomes, like, now obsessed with him like she was with Arya, and yeah, there's definitely, the path of the harem was paved. It's here. I want to see a show. Is there a show out there where a guy collects a harem and they're just all, like, slaughtered? Like, just complete, just, like, decimation? Because Toku...
If there was, it was probably a Kamega kill.
A Kamega kills. That's a good point. Yeah, because he had everything, and then he had nothing.
Well, and the harem was actually for a Kame.
Yeah, right.
She's the only one that survives, basically. So.
My harem's only for Esdeath, and we all know that to be true. True. But, yeah, so... Man, like, my favorite character... Ooh, it might have to be BB. I guess they just fleshed him out the best. He had a pretty decent backstory, contrived about why it was important, but...
I do want to say, what a weird fucking scenario to bring this military of like 30 people, like this military force,
right,
to attack, I think they said like 7, with guns, when they know they all have special, like, superpowers.
Because it was Arya and 6 maids versus...
But, like, are they on drugs? They have superpowers, you fucking dumbasses. What is an M16 gonna do?
It looked like everyone... I don't think everyone was bulletproof, but I think everyone's power allowed for some flavor of bulletproofing.
Exactly. So what's the point?
Yeah, right. So why would... And Colonel Sanders he should have known this.
Yeah.
He's the one who brought him along. He said, like, we need more than that. Like, we need some more sealed users. Like, we need some more sealed folks. So... Couldn't they... Wait, and didn't they say that they could make copies like Tom's? Why don't they just slap a bunch on everybody?
Well, I think they did, but the copies apparently are just trash.
They're pretty weak, yeah. And, yep, and poor Tom. I actually kind of like Tom. He really got the shit out of the stick. He got his ass beat multiple times.
He had all his dojins burned in a vacuum.
Bro, so sad. Actual tragedy.
That was the only time I actually laughed, I think, is when he was pissed off at the table after that. And I'm like, why is he mad? And he's like, apparently you destroyed all of his otaku merch, and he's just like, are you serious?
Oh, that's right. He was sitting at the table, like, talking about Saiji's life, like, your life is so fucking picturesque. Yeah, and I want you to die.
He had, like, red black aura.
Yeah, just sitting at the table, like, and your mom came home and cooked you dinner last night? Die. Drown. Be dead. Like, oh my God. My favorite comedy moment might, weirdly enough, had been from Toku, because they were... Like when Izzy was stalking Seiji, and it was just like day 1, clearly obvious. Day 2, clearly obvious. Day 3, clearly obvious. And then they're just like very casually walking, and then she's like, all right, Seiji, what's up with this bitch? Like,
what's up with this stalker?
Who the fuck is the stalker? And then he's like, I'll go talk to her, I promise. And then she goes over like, okay, what the fuck is up? She's like, oh wait, you knew I was there? Like, of course we knew you were there. He's at his desk, and the window next to him, she's like,
Yeah.
right here in his face.
It was
Like,
great. It was good.
they,
That part.
they had some here and there, some comedic moments that some landed, but really all
Right,
in all,
but that's moments in the course of a show. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? It seems like things that seem to flow well with what's going on around the show would be funny, but
Yeah.
they would legitimately change the entire tone of the scene. Like the music would change. They would throw up this like PowerPoint slide, essentially, like this like accent to whatever the character's on screen, and be like, say something funny. You
yeah,
know?
right. Yeah. And comedy in 3, 2, 1, go.
Rain is wet.
There it is.
Okay.
One of those I noticed really like a lot too was in seeing BB's past, and they were down like we're learning that Arya has been basically like cooked up as an input device to rewrite the runes and the rules, and I don't even know. And they said they're gonna quote unquote rewrite the world, which no one fucking explained what that meant either. So don't worry about it. But they're in there, right? You're getting information, core information about the world. Like you're really getting to the heart of what Arya is and what the kingdom's doing in the human experimentation. And then boom, out of nowhere, those two girls attack that one chick and she ties him up like bondage style. And like we go from serious mystery solving to Ichi to comedy to Ichi again.
Yeah.
And then back to the surface and action. All in the course of like 90 seconds, kind of, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's
Whoa.
whiplash nobody can handle.
This is ADD from a genre standpoint to the highest caliber. Like, and does it make for an interesting time to do that? No, no, not at all. Like you definitely, like you were saying, you could be on your phone and then look up at like, oh, this sounds important, and you'd probably be right. You could, just with your ears, you can tell the chaff from the wheat
Right.
in this story. And that's never a good look, that you can discern what's important with ears alone.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
That's how I live my dub life, though.
Dub
life,
Dub
baby.
life. Yep.
You didn't choose me.
The sub life chose me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I just never went, maybe I had one bad too many dubs, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it.
I cannot. It's just so much easier to watch dubs, man.
That's very true. That's and I'm not going to say no to it, you know. And again, some dubs slap. This one sounded like it actually was
It was
like,
not bad.
okay, not too bad. So
Floozy Froozy's voice is annoying.
how about ill?
Hers was fine. It was
Oh,
it was
interesting.
actually like sort of angelic.
Oh, because that's kind of what they set her up to be. But again, didn't like the whole Arya groping her ass. Like,
Yeah.
it was weird. A little too weird for me. But in the end of the day, I mean, the characters are fucking fine.
I think Izzy was annoying only because she's an adult in a kid's body, so she would over emote to like denote that. So like I think it was probably character based, but it was just like maybe a bit much.
And they never explaining necessarily why that was a
That
thing
was
for
so
her.
fucked up.
Right,
I don't
yeah.
even want to get into it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm so mad about that.
So it's full of plot holes, and it's almost as if like if you were to ask the creators to be like, "Fuck you! How dare you ask for more? What do you want more than the 60% of a fleshed out world? Like fuck
He tried
you!"
to do a season 2.
And now that we're here at the end of the episode, we could talk about it because it's so obviously clear. Abundantly clear. They had a preview. They set it up to have a second stage of this war. Everything was aligned and the universe was ready. But then the world shit on it. It got a 5.77 out of 10 on Mal. That's abysmal.
Yeah.
Why do you think? I don't think it was that bad from a Mal standard.
Yeah, I don't either. If I had to guess, because I can literally look at some reviews right here.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Well, they gave the story a 3 out of 10, which is pretty tough.
That's a rough
And
one.
I think sort of fair because it just straight up was not. They never told. There was no exposition that was like completed.
I don't even. And again, we have talked in the past how some stories have like a nugget, a core of something. I think we talked about it with Wise Man's Grandchild. That despite our opinions individually on it, we can tell that Wise Man's Grandchild had a nugget of a lore that could be really beautiful if they did the work to flesh it out. They just didn't. This didn't even feel like it had that nugget. It just didn't. I can't really tell. Maybe the runes in the source system. Maybe if they played that different. I'm just trying to think. My head's in the what do we fix space? How do we fix this? But maybe there's not a lot to fix because they didn't really give us everything.
Yeah, I think the real way to make this, instead of like a 6 out of 10 or, you know, a 3.5 out of 10
Yeah.
from this chick, would be, let's limit some of the characters, because they put a lot in there,
Yeah.
and they tried to give like some of them their time of day, you know, their like shining spotlight. They also would introduce characters just to kill them in like 5 seconds,
Right.
which is a little bit wild.
Was it Varma in BB's past? They like introduced him and then he was dead in the past. Like,
Yeah,
I would like to have seen where maybe like they were estranged or something and they came back or something. I don't know. Could have played that better.
pretty
You're
much
right.
the entire U.S. Army. Like, they
Waxed.
named all of them. They said, no, oh, this guy's, don't worry, he's a big teddy bear, even though he
Yeah.
looks so crazy. Killed him in literally the next 5 minutes.
Second Commander Wang dead.
Yeah,
Instantly. What was it? The big beefy black guy was Bronze or something like that. Barnes. I don't know.
No
Barnes.
idea.
In any case,
Barnes, that's right.
Barnes. Yeah.
Major Barnes.
And yeah, killed him instantly.
Yeah.
Like, so to that point, right? They would just tee them up to knock them down. Like, you didn't have to do that. Like,
Yeah, I think make it a little bit more of a battle than it was a slaughter a lot of times, because I felt like it was like, you know, this show's so dumb, because if Aryabata was not such a pretentious little shit, she would just win the battle in the first 5 minutes because she could just take Seiji.
yeah, she was toying that trope of the villain kind of toys around with her food a little bit, but because she
A little bit more, like 11 episodes she toyed with.
Right. To that end, right? Because of your arrogance, your hubris, this is why
Right.
you've lost. The justice will win the day. Whatever. And when it comes to the tattoos, give us some consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't even a throwaway line's fine for some of this stuff. Like, oh, this tattoo made me, stay young forever.
So what I really wanted, and I thought they were headed this way because they kept showing like a tattoo symbol and then they'd add another symbol to it.
Yes.
I thought they were going to do what they did in Record of Grand Crest War,
Mm-hmm.
where like if you beat another person with a sigil, it would be added to your sigil.
Yeah.
And you could eventually beat so many people and amass such a large sigil that you're like, they would essentially gauge your class of warrior based on how fucking huge your sigil is.
The ornateness or like the weirdness and uniqueness. Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think, again,
which would have been kind of cool, and like having like an interesting backstory and rankings and stuff that I like.
And they teed that up too when Seiji devoured BB.
Right.
They literally teed that up and they went nowhere with it at all. So yeah, that would have been a good fix. I mean, if you're gonna present something, present it. Like, don't make everything felt contrived because of the one throwaway line that gave them a free hall pass. We don't know the full extent of these tattoos yet.
Yeah.
And that gave them complete creative license to just throw shit willy-nilly and have Deus Ex Machinas left and right. Nothing felt really that earned with the tattoo system. I would say, if they exposed us to theories that were then validated through Seiji or whoever, right? That would be better.
I mean, to be honest, to put enough information in this to make it useful, this would have to be 24 episodes.
Right. Season 2 would needed to have been made for this to even be okay.
And it would have had to be like 90% exposition to clean up some of the bullshit that they created this time.
Their exposition was pretty poor.
I have a very, very strong inkling this will never get a season 2.
Me neither.
I think this has to be one of the worst JC Staff shows ever, which is crazy because it was actually beautiful. Like,
I will say,
the action scenes were great.
Top
All the fights were really cool.
Good use of CGI.
Even
Nothing too crazy.
Even the powers were a little bit cool.
Yeah. And the way they interacted, like Void versus that air wall Cal had,
Yeah.
badass as hell. That one dude who could manipulate the weight of things versus, Izzy with her air compression, badass as hell.
Yeah, really cool.
So the thing is, if you have Shonen Trash Brain just like us, the fights might carry you through. There is no skimping on action here. Like, they definitely had a lot of action.
These reviews say if you're an action anime fan, you might not think it's as bad as they do.
Right.
And I agree.
I do agree.
To that end,
What do we got?
This was potentially going to be a worst of Weeb plus a listener suggestion.
Right.
But I almost don't think it's as bad as it needs to be a worst of Weeb.
Yes.
Like, to me, those are like 50s and below, and I can't put this in the low 50s.
I don't think so either. It had a plot.
I'm going to give it a 59 just to be...
Oh, just to be cheeky?
Yeah.
I would give it, I would give 62.
Okay.
I'm going to say 62 because I've said it in the past, good animation in a kind of a shite show can carry it for me.
For sure.
And I think JC Staff at least gave me enough to push it into the 60s. Plot,
it's
bland.
Basically JoJo.
It's basically, edgy stands, essentially. Edgy stands for the MC
Frankly.
purist of out there who wants to be inside of a surrogate MC body.
Yeah.
That's what Saiji is. So JC Staff pushed it along. The plot was meh. The characters were meh. The lack of information was annoying to no fucking end. But at least I saw some sweet-ass fights and some nice kaiju battles. So
there you go.
And you're in. So if you want a popcorn shonen trash brain that'll make your brain even trashier, go on ahead and watch Taboo Tattoo. It's not going to burn the bank.
It's not good.
It's not good. It's not good. I'll freely admit it's not a good show, but it won't burn the bank mentally or temporally. It's only 4 hours. So
and it's on Crunchyroll, both the dub and
the sub. Yeah, so whatever you prefer, it's all there. But you know what? They can't all be winners. And thank you for coming to class. Thank you.
Thanks, Crimson Blaze.
Thank you, Crimson Blaze, for suggesting this show. To answer your question, it's not as bad as I think you think it is.
Yeah, but it's not good.
But it's not good. We're in your camp, but we're not in your tent.
I think we're sort of like,
yeah, we're
same as you.
Yeah, kind of, it's fine. But again, thank you for coming to class. If you'd like to have a show watched and reviewed by us, drop us anywhere. All the links are in all the descriptions below. Email, Instagram, all those places, or into our Discord. If you want to jump on the patreon.com/weebology train, $1 and up gets you into our Discord. $3 and up gets you the syllabus sidebar, our lo-fi high-five, sometimes anime, sometimes not, sometimes visual sideshow where we experiment with content, talk about shit, which we'll be getting back on now that my sabbatical is over. We back, baby.
For sure.
But yes, and check out our appearance on Lord of Dorktown, where we discussed Dr. Stone with our boy Philip.
And fast food and random shit like that.
Oh, yeah, we had a nice
and
fast
Master
food.
Raindrop.
Oh, Master Raindrop, one of the worst shows visually I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know how much visuals matter to me. My eyes were seared. I need to get some LASIK. Until I can see the world with beautiful colors again. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Ethan.
And this has been Weebology. Deuces. Yeah, I still see in black and white ever since I watched Master Raindrop. If they're off, they're gone.